Welcome to a new edition of the MGM here in Berlin. This is the 13th time we actually do this. It's become a tradition, right? And we also have a tradition to get a co-host. I'm Toffel here with you, and we have again, like last time,
Yeah. Hey,
Johnny. Hi.
it's me again.
Who would believe it? Actually, I think that's the first time somebody actually came back. So
Wait, yeah, for sure. We asked sometimes other people, right?
yeah, sure.
Maybe want to commentate on that. I also asked for the quarterfinals if somebody else wants under the cam and maybe gets recorded for history. But yeah, no one of
No
the
one wanted
other.
to.
No. So
Yeah,
I
coincidence. We see
was,
you on the right
yeah.
side.
Yeah.
You again, like last time, making the top 8 of this tournament.
Mhm.
That's, I think, the reward for retiring. It's officially.
I guess. What do you mean?
That's how it goes. Like people say they retire and then they win every tournament.
Oh, yeah, that's a nice. I mean, by this time I played so many tournaments already. I
Yeah,
think I can say I'm well back from retirement.
so you play your pet deck in
Mhm.
Azorius Control,
Yeah, exactly. But
and
but this time it's a bit different from the last version we saw in the last
yeah,
tournament.
explain what changed.
I added.
Highlander is like new, like a new metagame every 3 months. This is basically happening every 3 months. So you have to adjust,
Yeah.
you have to add new
Well,
cards. Like this time we had a lot of new cards from Guilds of Ravnica. So what were
mhm.
your changes because of that?
Well, actually, it's a bit tricky because the tournament was at the same day when Ravnica got released, so you had to like pre-order them or get them on the pre-release or something. So I didn't have any cards from Ravnica, but I think some people had, of course, Assassin's Trophy, which is a huge new card for Highlander, which is the new Abrupt Decay, if you want so, like for Golgari. I think everyone who watches this knows it already. It's a really huge card for Highlander, I think, because it changes a lot. Yeah, the cards you can put in your deck and cards you don't put in your deck anymore. I mean, yeah, you have to see how it develops. And we have some other cards like Risk Factor from Mono Red. I think Jakob placed it in his version. Let me check that real quick. Yeah, he does. He played it in the tournament and in his version. And you can see we both take a mulligan. But yeah, to my deck, I changed basically all my splash cards and all my expensive cards for creatures. I swapped them out. I added like 20 creatures and yeah, cut stuff like 6 mana Elspeth and things like that. Just because my matchup against Scapeshift and other combo decks were so horrible, or was so horrible, that I had to change my deck to adapt. And yeah, that's why I'm playing creatures right now. So let's talk about the hands. My hand is really good against mono red, right? I have a Spells Guide, a Nemesis, a Geist, and even a Supreme Verdict if things can get out of hand. And Jakob had a really aggressive hand, but only
Yeah,
one hand.
I mean, he kind of has to know that winning needs to be quick, right?
Mhm.
You're taking over the late game. You have a lot of powerful 3 and 4 mana spells that close the game. There's mode. You have Circle of Protection red. Is that correct
No,
still?
not anymore. I cut
Okay.
this because my matchup against mono red was horrible because I didn't have any creatures and couldn't block or raise. But now that changed, so I don't need the circle anymore.
Yeah, okay. And like at this point, Jakob needs creatures, needs very potent burn spells, and that's exactly what he got so far. The only thing that's missing are lands, so
Yeah, it's a risky keep. He's on the play, and I would be more comfortable keeping that on the draw, I think, because eventually he needs 2 more lands, right? At least to work. I mean, another land is already fine, but then it's close, I think.
there there
But
are there are 2 1-drops, so that's not that bad.
yeah, exactly.
So I
He,
mean, they are the most potent form of dealing damage, and that's
mhm. And
that,
and he can get me if I have a slow start with
yeah, exactly. Like
yeah.
if you use your cards as counter spells effect, like one time, getting
Mhm.
creatures under the counter spells is very, very good.
Yeah, that's true.
But very unfortunate for him.
Yeah, he didn't do the second land. But I mean, to add something about Jakob maybe, he is a first-time contender in the MGM, I think. He doesn't play Highlander for that long. And usually he plays control decks and Reanimator, I think. And he got the deck from a fellow teammate, Jan. And yeah, he made 8, top 8 in the first tournament he played, like the
That's
biggest.
impressive. I mean,
Yeah,
this is not an easy tournament. There are a lot of people that play Highlander for
yeah,
5 to 10 years,
yeah, for
and
sure, and have a
it,
lot of experience. So
yeah, and also play very like once a week at least, right? So
yeah,
people know what's going on. They know which card to cut, and this is very, very difficult. And people say like, I get this a lot because I sometimes also played mono red. It's like, oh, such a stupid deck. It just plays your cards and stuff. But it's pretty hard to play against other decks when you don't know what they're playing, when you don't know what you're playing around, you don't know which card is better to use right now. So it's fairly difficult to use all your spells. And here,
yeah.
True Nemesis is such a good blocker, right?
I mean, yeah, this hand is disgusting. I even drew swords to plowshares from the top.
So is that a
It's,
hand where you actually say, okay, it looks pretty decent. I'm going to go into aggressive mode because my opponent cannot do as much?
oh yeah, for sure. Because I have the spells guide and the swords, and I have a
And
charter course and the tithe. Like I have so much things to do while racing him. I wouldn't feel bad, but I think I would. Since he drew land, I'm assuming he has a really explosive hand or like a really busted hand, right? So I'm a
yeah,
bit more careful. There could be something like Anger of Mishra or Sulfuric Vortex, which can maybe raise me. So yeah, I'm
yeah,
looking out
there's
for
still
those.
some very potent one-shot cards that are doing a lot of trouble to you, and that's like always shaky tapping out against red. It's like,
And then
but
I already have 2 non-basic lands, so that's already 4 damage I can't redirect with Spell's Guide. So there are a lot of things. So here Jakob is playing a Lightning Strike main phase. And that's the thing I wanted to get to when I said it's his first bigger tournament. He's not that experienced, especially with mono red, right? And I think he never played against Spell's Guide. So let's talk about this play. Let's assume you know what Spell's Guide does. Would you do that at this point?
it trades at least 2 damage, so that's fine.
Yeah.
If you
But
would be
you
able to attack, it's much better. But the
exactly.
idea he, right now, it doesn't look like he's going to push damage through creatures, all right? And you have a lot of cards, so his idea might be to just use the cards to deal guaranteed damage, and maybe then later he can sneak in something else.
But he could achieve the same thing if he just Arc Lightning, Arc Trail, or 1 damage on Space Guard and 2 to my face.
Maybe he wants to keep Arctrail for something else.
Yeah, but
Like you have a
sorcery.
Mind Sensor, for example. Like
Yeah.
there are
Yeah, I guess.
applications for an Arctrail that might be better.
Yeah,
My
maybe.
question is, why do you play Charter Cost? Because that doesn't seem like a card you really want to play in a
Oh, you mean in my deck in general?
yeah.
I
Like
mean,
if you build a control deck and say I build an Azur's control deck, Charter Cost would not be an intuition card that you say like I'm putting that in the deck.
yeah, yeah. Well, first of all, it's not a control deck anymore because I have 20 creatures, which is quite a lot for blue-white.
Yes.
I play a lot of creatures on the 3 slot, 3 drops, like Lightning and no, what's the name? Brightling. I think Brightling, yeah. And like Nemesis and Geist and Mind Sensor and I don't know, so many other creatures, Talia. Like I have a lot of creatures and I'm really comfortable with activating the Charter Course. So that's why I play that.
Is that because you wanted to win the game quicker and
For
you
sure.
felt like you didn't? Or is that actually necessary because you felt your deck before wasn't as good?
The thing is, I had to cut like some really big spells like Sphinx Revelation and like Jace, Architect of Thought, so card advantage cards, right? And I
Yeah.
had to.
Yeah,
I feel like
here
I had to. Oh yeah, we
something
see.
happens in the sense that there's an Arc Trail that
Yeah.
was sneakily cast in combat, which is unfortunately not possible.
Yeah, exactly. That's maybe the reason. That's why he didn't play it last turn because he thought it's an instant. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why he played the Lightning Strike.
That's also quite convenient for you when you say like, okay, I guess I'm blocking with my 2/1.
And I'm happy here to just trade the Mind Sensor for another creature.
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
because I have guys in my hand and already Nemesis on board. Like nothing can happen here.
But you see, like, if you assume you attack with the creatures and Spellsguide blocks 1, Archer would have been very good.
Yeah, that's true.
And right now, the idea is to somehow sneak the damage through. Like your life total is still quite high. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not faster than True Nemesis, and that's kind of an issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I am already at 11, so that's not that bad, I think.
Okay, so you're in this spot, right? Your opponent has two lands, you have Spellscat and True Nemesis. What are your priorities now? Like, is there cards you specifically play around? Is there an idea that says, like, okay, I want to find a certain card. I need to get a counter spell.
Yeah, that's the most important thing I'm looking right now for. Like a counter spell just to counter the biggest thing that could be an issue, like a vortex or something like that.
Like, do you play Caracas because you're afraid of Price of Progress, or that's why you fetch a basic?
Exactly, because of Blood Moon, and I don't want to add another land to the board just because of Price of Progress. And usually I don't need to rescue my own Geist against mono red. Some versions play like Rolling Earthquake or some kind of earthquake effect.
Fiery Confluence?
Yeah, Confluence is another one, but he's really far away from that. And yeah, that's why I just run the basic, because now I'm tapped out and he could draw his third land and maybe he has a Blood Moon or something like that. So yeah.
So, I mean, it's probably not a surprise that we assume this game is not going for long.
Mm-hmm.
Which cards would you have played from the new set?
Let's see. What do we have for blue-white? Actually, not a lot. Chemist's Insight is a card which I really like. I was thinking about cutting it for Fact or Fiction, but that would be only the case if because the metagame in Berlin at least is pretty. I mean, it's not controlish, but we have a lot of Scapeshift players, and against those, usually you don't resolve your card draw spells, right? Because they have a lot of counter spells and cheap ones, and that's why Chemist's Insight, I think, is sometimes better against them. But against other mid-range decks, of course, the Fact of Fiction is way better. So let's talk about the characters. Right now, I'm playing it because I have the mana drain. That's why I'm going. Yeah.
You drew the counter spell. There's not much coming besides Price of Progress.
Exactly. And right now I just want to get rid of the creature to get my damage in.
Yeah.
So yeah, Chemist's Insight. Then Mission Briefing was the card I was looking at before I switched to my creature version, because it's another Snapcaster. Snapcaster deck.
I heard arguments where people said it's better than Snapcaster, and
in some decks, yeah, in Storm, for instance, where everyone both of druids, where you can't have creatures. So that's a really good card there.
Okay, I can actually see that. That's reasonable.
And the Surveil is not nothing, right? It's something which adds some value to your deck, and if you already have something in the graveyard, you're just happy to add 2 more cards for Delve spells or just dig a bit.
Yeah, but then you look at surveilling 2 cards and playing a 2/1 fresh. It seems like it's a world difference.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a world, because in a deck where you don't have many creatures, the 2/1 is rarely something you care for.
Yeah.
Sometimes, of course, it can eat a blocker or something, eat an attacker, but that's really rare. And I think I want the selection more than the 2/1 body. But right now, I'm not sure if I should play it, because the double blue is really, even on a 2-color deck, or especially on a 2-color deck.
If you want to cast Mana Drain, it's very hard on your mana.
It's very hard, yeah. And I have like Mystic Confluence and Counterspell and Council's Judgment, like a lot of double-colored symbols. And right now we see he wants to trade the Geist for his Mishras, which I'm happy with. I'm not even bouncing my Geist because he loses a land, and I'm very fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, this is...
Yeah, it's not a real Magic game, so it's just going through the motions.
Bold you!
No, that's why
Not even that.
It would have been interesting to see how the game develops if he had mana, because I think my hand was really, really strong.
Yeah.
But he had still a lot of things to do, so...
All right, that was a piece of cake. Let's see if you win your second game that easily.